Hello, and welcome to the Drug Life Cycle Minute. I'm your host, Philip Day. My guest today is Dr. Mukesh Kumar, the Chief Innovation Officer of Drug Life Cycle Delta. Our topic today is All Trials Are Identical. Hello, how are you today, Dr. Kumar?
I'm good, Philip. How are you?
I'm doing fine. Dr. Kumar, their clinical trials is quite a topic to take on here. But first, I guess what we really need to know is what are the differences between clinical trials for a drug and perhaps, say, a vaccine?
Um, Clinical trials for a drug or a vaccine are very similar in the operational side, but different on the disease side. Obviously, for a vaccine, we're looking at it doing certain things which are different from what a drug would do. But from an operational side, they are pretty much identical.
Okay. Well, then how do professionals specialize in such things as disease-specific studies, particularly for oncology?
Well, professionals specialize based on the nuances of the disease. So if you have done trials in cancer, then you understand the kind of patients you're going to get, the kind of doctors who will be involved in those kind of clinical trials, and some practical issues. But when it comes to the operational side, the kind of things you have to do to get a trial from start to the end, the processes look same. So
Okay.
when people specialize in disease, special diseases, they just mean that they have done more trials with that particular disease. Not that they cannot do trials in other diseases. They probably can do trials in anything, but just that they have done more, they have more experience with trials in the disease that they claim to be specialist in.
Okay. Well, now, of course, clinical trials have standards. And what I'm curious about is what are those quality standards that you would find typically for a clinical trials?
There are several standards for
Okay.
clinical trials to make sure that they are done safely and the people participating in them are not harmed in any way. The core quality standards for clinical trials is described in Good Clinical Practices or GCP.
Okay.
But then there are many other rules that each country, depending on their personal, the requirements for that particular country, they make additional rules. Like for example, the rules for doing a clinical trial in US from a core competencies point of view are similar to the rules for doing a trial in say Israel, but Israel
Mm,
has some additional rules to protect people in its country. So, and these standards are international in nature, they're very universal in nature, and all of them intend to first of all make sure that the quality of data is good and that the people are not harmed in the trial.
okay. And finally, what is the best way to take advantage of some of the operational similarities across these clinical trials that we've spoken of today?
Well, the best way is to, because everybody is doing it the same way and following the
Hmm.
same steps and pretty much in the same sequence, the best way is to make it more automated. A lot of clinical trial operations are pretty routine
Hmm.
and they do not require people to remember, and they should not require people to remember and try to solve the problem as if it's the new one every single time. Many of the things are common. So we can use it by having standardized systems, having automation wherever we can, because automation would reduce the time it takes to start a trial and to execute it. And also it will
Okay.
reduce errors. So since we all have similar things, we should take advantage of it by not trying to reinvent the wheel every time.
I see. And the clinical trials are really fascinating. I hope we can talk about this more because um, I have, of course, I have friends and family that really live with drugs. They've got to have certain drugs, and this is fascinating. So let's talk about this again sometime. Clinical trials to me is just such a fascinating topic, and I'm sure it is for most of our audience. So, Dr. Kumar, thank you so much for joining us for the Drug Life Cycle Minute. You can find out more about us at www.druglifecycle.com. Also, like our Facebook page and follow us on Twitter and LinkedIn. Take control with Delta. Have a healthy day.